Good afternoon, students. Now, today here we are going to discuss about the value-added course. So, till now you would have seen the first 2 units in corporate grooming, where you have seen the basic aspects of corporate, that is, the difference between the campus and the corporate, interpersonal skills, and what is the expectation from the freshers, and all these things. And in unit 2 you would have seen about basic attitude, the requirements, and also the basic etiquettes which are required. Now we are going to move around to the next unit, which is unit 3. In unit 3, now here we are going to study about the other workplace etiquettes. Now let us see what are the various workplace etiquettes. Workplace etiquette. When we say workplace etiquette, what is workplace etiquette? Workplace etiquette refers to accepted behavior in the workplace for making the workplace respectful and also an enjoyable one. Now, in the workplace, what are the various etiquettes one has to imbibe? They are as follows. Be aware of floor manners. You are working along with other individuals, so you need to know what are the basic floor manners which you need to follow. Learn about the elevator manners, because you are at the workplace again and you have to know how to move around when you are using the elevators. Incorporate cafeteria manners, and you have learn mobile manners. So now let us see one by one how we need to handle this. So the next slide here talks about the floor manners. You can see the pic shows the floor area at the workplace. So here what are the etiquettes we need to follow while being at the work floor manners. So first thing what we need to do is, do not make loud conversations on phone on the floor. See, when you are around the campus, you have been doing this, isn't it? But now when you are at the workplace, you are working with other corporate people who are here for some big reason. So then you need to be very careful and you need to lower your tone when you speak over your phones. So do not make loud conversations on phones on the floor. Then do not misuse the office property. You will have a lot of things which will be available which you are required to use when you are at the corporate. But you need to use all these things very carefully. You cannot misuse the properties which of the office. Listen when someone is talking. Do not interrupt. See, when you are at the workplace or wherever you are, it's very important to listen to one who is telling you whatever it is. So first inculcate the listening skill, where you need to hear as to what the other person is telling, so that you will understand the person, what is he trying to express, and do not interrupt that person when he is speaking. The next slide talks about do not get involved in office gossip. Now, we often tend to talk about people whenever we are in a group or when we are together with 2 people. So, you need to avoid this when you are at the workplace. Do not look through people's computers, emails or letters. So, this is again a common practice of people to find out as to what the other person is doing. So, we need to avoid these things like looking into others' computers or emails or even letters. Do not disturb others. The pic tells that we need to concentrate our own work and you don't have to tell others what you have to do. As per the orders of the workplace, you need to follow the rules and you should not disturb the other person. Now let us see in all what are the various steps which you have to be aware of. Do not misuse office property. Do not make loud conversation on phone over the floor. Avoid loud conversations with colleagues on the floor. Do not look through people's computers, emails or letters. Listen when someone is talking. Do not interrupt. Do not get involved in the office gossip. Do not disturb others. And also eating on the floor, that should be avoided. So all these you have been doing in campus, but you shouldn't do this when you are at your workplace. Never borrow anything from someone's desk without permission. So you have been doing all this when you were at the campus without even asking them. This you cannot be done at the corporate. Don't intrude on personal space of others. See, everybody has their own space. So you cannot interrupt in between them and do whatever you want. Grooming yourself in public should be avoided. See, you cannot just like that, wave your hair or comb or, apply your lipstick and all that. So all these things have to be considered in order to follow the floor manners at the workplace. The next slide talks about elevator manners. So now when you are using the elevator also you have to follow certain manners. What are those manners? Maintain silence inside the office elevator. So once you are into the elevator, you have to see that you are maintaining silence over there. You cannot just like that shout and call a friend and all that. Once you have pressed the button of the elevator, you have to wait for it to come. Do not crowd at the door of the elevator. You just like that cannot crowd at the door of the elevator. Now, as for we are in the COVID-19 situation, we need to be more careful while using these elevators. Do not push your way in. You not just like that push yourself. You need to wait for the other person to come out. Always let the ladies go in first. This is a normal prescribed attitude of people. That is, they allow ladies first. So this is usually followed. Never hold the door of the elevator for a long time. You don't have to hold the door of the elevator. That is the button you don't have to hold and wait for your friend, so that the other people don't get the elevators. Give others their personal space even when you are in an elevator. And also maintain social distance. So this is normal thing which everywhere you need to follow this. But now as we are in the COVID-19 situation, we need to consider this point as well. Now, next comes the cafeteria manners. So when you are in the workplace, you will have to follow the manners which need to be followed at the cafeteria. So here in campus, you have your canteen, right? But now when you are in the workplace, you should know what are the cafeteria manners. Have your meal only at the cafeteria. See, normally when you are in your classroom, you may open your lunchbox and see what is there in it. But here, when you are at the workplace, you need to avoid all these activities. So, you have to open it only when you are at your cafeteria. Wait in the queue for your turn at the counter. There will be a lot of people who will be there at the cafeteria who may be in queue. So, you need to wait in the queue and wait for your turn to come to buy. Take only as much as you want. Just like that, don't put anything whatever is there. Use carefully things and take only that which is required. Do not leave food in your plate. You cannot just like that leave the food on your plate and run away and keeping as you keep here in your canteen or at your home or whatever. This is your workplace. You need to be very careful here. Keep your plate and cup at the cleaning counter. Then you have to carry your plates and see that you keep it at the cleaning counter. Take care not to spill over the food or drinks. You should not fill over the food, drop any of the items in the food and all those things and the water and all that. Do not talk too loudly. Even though you are in the cafeteria, it doesn't mean that you can talk loudly. You need to be careful in your speech. And also very important, do not chew loudly. So you should be careful while chewing your food as well. Now, next what we have is mobile manners. Now, we are often in the habit of using our mobiles, isn't it? But how we need to use the mobile when you are at the workplace? So, that also needs to be considered. Now, let us see what needs to be followed. Here, keep ringer of the mobile on low volume. See, when you are in your home or any other place, you are normally used to keep the volume at a high speed. But when you are in class, you keep it low, you have to switch off. That is the norms which need to be followed. Now here as well, you have to see that you keep your volume at the low. Stop the urge of checking mobile often. Now we have this practice of even checking every now and then what is happening, isn't it? So you have to stop that habit of checking. If you have to make a personal call, then excuse yourself from the floor. If you have, normally phone calls will not be allowed. Normally in some corporates, they don't allow the phone also to be carried. Your personal phone should not be carried at your workplace. But in certain cases, they may allow, depends upon the kind of company or corporate which you are going to join. So when you join there, you have to be careful. You have to ask permission if you have to make any kind of a personal call. Avoid playing games on mobile at workplace. So this is normal thing which students do, isn't it? They want to play games. So that should not be done when you are at the workplace. Be careful of using social networking sites on your mobile. We often go into way of Facebook, your Instagram and Twitter and all that, isn't it? So you need to be careful here while using all these things. Positive environment, that is the next thing which you need to have at the workplace. So you have seen all the various manners which you need to follow. Along with that, you have to have a positive environment at the workplace. To create a positive environment. Create a positive environment at the workplace. What are the things which you need to follow? Greet everyone you encounter cheerfully and with a smile. Remember to say please and also thank you. So whenever you say anything, you have to use the word please and also say thank you. Always show your appreciation with a smile. Small talk and light chatter at work will be essential. That is, you can talk a little lightly, you can talk. And you have to be polite to everyone. Take instructions with grace and give instructions also gracefully. You cannot order people to do or take orders like that. You have to tell it very gracefully. So these are the various things which you need to follow. Thank you.